How can something so sweet as sugar destroy an entire island and leave a country like Puerto Rico in ruins both politically and economically? Sugar is found in the tissue of most plants. Honey and fruit are abundant natural sources of simple sugars. Sugar has a high energy content. Kids grow fast and have a developmental need for quick sources of high energy and are often drawn to sweets. This is why many of us link candy and sugary treats to childhood. In grocery stores all over America, the sugar aisle is one of the busiest, and a company by the name of Domino Sugar Company dominates that aisle with its bright yellow, distinctive, innocent-looking, happy packaging. Many of these bags come from Domino Sugar's refinery in Louisiana, which sits about a mile down from the lower 9th Ward, where Hurricane Katrina and the failed levees destroyed so many lives. It is North America's largest sugar refinery, making nearly 2 billion pounds of sugar and sugar products annually. That's enough for Americans to consume an average of 77 grams of sugar per day, and that's the weight of a baby newborn rhino. That's a lot of sugar. But sugar wasn't always so accessible and plentiful. For thousands of years, sugarcane had to be cut by hand and immediately ground to release the juice inside before it spoiled. It was very labor intensive. Because of this, it was seen as no more than an exotic spice or sweetener for the rich with money to spare. This all changed with the introduction of slavery, in other words, free labor, in the early 1500s and 1600s in the New World. With the labor costs dropping dramatically, sugar production was now viable. Over the next 4 centuries that followed Columbus's arrival in Mexico, Brazil, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, countless indigenous lives were destroyed, and nearly 11 million Africans were enslaved to produce the sweet commodity. Sugar after slavery was so profitable that it was called white gold by Europeans, and it fueled the wealth of European nations and financed the colonization of America. So many people, so many companies, so many corporations benefited greatly from sugar production, but no company benefited as much as Domino Sugar. Domino Sugar was founded in 1807 and operated mostly in the American South, mostly in the state of Louisiana. During this time, there was a great sugar boom, and plantations exploded up and down the banks of the Mississippi River. This was all possible because of the rich soil, combined with the experience of seasoned planters in the area, and also because of slavery. When slavery was abolished in 1865, these planters and producers of sugar were forced to do business where they now had to pay for labor. Once again, sugar became expensive. Planters struggled financially during this time. They were looking for a way to make sugar profitable again. On July 25th, 1898, they were given a great gift. At the outbreak of the Spanish-American War, Puerto Rico was invaded by the United States. At the conclusion of the war, Spain was forced to hand over Puerto Rico, Cuba, the Philippines, and Guam over to the United States under the 1898 Treaty of Paris. Puerto Rico was immediately put under military rule, with officials appointed by the President of the United States. On May 1st, 1900, President McKinley appointed businessman Charles Herbert Allen as the first governor of Puerto Rico. Allen was born in Massachusetts on April 15, 1848. Though he never served in the armed services, he loved to dress in military uniforms and have people address him as colonel. Along with his father, he owned several businesses, including a lumber business that manufactured wooden boxes and sold railroad ties, housing frames, and other building materials. With the expansion of the United States, at this time, lumber was in high demand. This experience gave him a great understanding of pricing and commodities, giving him a great understanding of the influence of price and power over commodities, and how you can use these as tools to gain great business and political power. A commodity is a basic good that is interchangeable with other goods of the same type and usually refer to some type of raw material used to manufacture finished goods. Gravel, for example, is a commodity because it doesn't matter who you get gravel from or who manufactured it. It's the same thing regardless, and you're willing to pay the same price to whoever delivers the gravel to you. The opposite of that would be a premium product like a Louis Vuitton bag. A Louis Vuitton purse and a Walmart purse are not equal to the consumer. One has a greater value, even though they both provide the same benefit. In early summer 1900, Charles Herbert Allen arrived in Puerto Rico like a conquistador, along with a naval cannon salute, almost like a military novel. In the rain, he marched down the streets of San Juan and right into the governor's mansion. Immediately, he got to work building allies and assessing the island for profit. One of his first acts was that he immediately increased the salaries of American politicians, using tax money that was taken from the natives of Puerto Rico that was supposed to be used for the benefit of the citizens of Puerto Rico. He then raised taxes on the people of Puerto Rico. As he began his assessment of the island, he compiled a report that he sent back to the president, and it was titled The First Report of the Governor of Puerto Rico.
The cost of sugar production is $10 per ton cheaper than in Java, $11 cheaper than in Hawaii, $12 cheaper than in Cuba, $17 than in Egypt, $19 cheaper than in the British West Indies, and $47 cheaper than in Louisiana and Texas. Molasses and rum, the incidental products of sugarcane, are themselves sufficient to pay all expenses of the sugar planters and leave the returns from his sugar as pure gain.
This was not a political report. It was a business plan for a sugar empire. Once he got the political go-ahead from the president, he brought in a company called the American Sugar Refining Company to build the largest sugar operation that the world has ever seen in Puerto Rico. With the American political machine in Puerto Rico on his side, Allen used land grants, tax subsidies, water rights, railroad easements, forced foreclosures, and forced sales, and favorable tax advantages and tariffs to aid him in his mission. Allen and the American Sugar Refining Company was able to control large parts of the population and land with these tools. By 1930, 80% of all farmland in Puerto Rico had been converted to sugar plantations owned or controlled by Allen and the American Sugar Refining Company. Allen went on to abandon his position as governor and took charge as president of the sugar refinery and changed its name to Domino Sugar. Now, as a private company, it could operate more secretively and make more money doing so. At this time, with the colonial environment in Puerto Rico, native Puerto Ricans had very little human rights. Allen and the Domino Sugar Company exploited this legal loophole to the fullest. Because of Allen's political connections, he was able to violate international laws, use violence and force to further grow the sugar business using his former position's influence, and was given free rein for whatever he wanted to do to increase Domino Sugar's profits. With a complete disregard for the Puerto Rican people, Domino Sugar caused irreparable damage to Puerto Rican society. Politicians redirected tax money to expand Domino's operations on the island and left little for public spending. At this time, 85% of children were illiterate. This deteriorated the education system and the potential of entire generations. At this time, Puerto Rico was a very diverse agricultural island. Before Domino Sugar's influence, they were one of the biggest producers of coffee and cigars in the world. But Allen and Domino Sugar forced landowners of competing crops to sell or give up their lands, and Puerto Rico became a single crop economy. Being a single crop economy is very dangerous economically, and it made Puerto Rico dependent on outside sources for food, a truth that still exists today. Before Domino Sugar, Puerto Rico produced almost all of its own food. As of 2020, Puerto Rico imports 85% of its food, producing just 15% of what's consumed on the island. To this day, keeping the island dependent on others for food. Before Allen and Domino Sugar, Puerto Rico had remarkably fertile land.
The yield of sugar per acre is greater than any other in the world. A large acreage of land, which are now devoted to pasturage, could be devoted to the culture of sugar cane.
By forcing an entire island to produce sugar cane, consequences have been created that exist until this day. Even Puerto Rico's land itself was negatively affected. New studies now show that continuous sugarcane planting results in soil acidification, damaging the soil's fertility and causing significantly lower yields of any other crop. Besides the soil itself, Puerto Rico's education system, its people, its society and political system has yet to recover 100%. Domino Sugar had a stronghold on Puerto Rico well into the 60s, which is not that long ago. Now that you know the history of Domino Sugar, what's your opinion? Did you know the dark history of this company? What do you think? I want to know in the comments below. If you liked the video, drop a like, subscribe to this channel for more videos, and hit that notification bell. I appreciate you and thanks.